All right, so if you live in Asheville, you're probably familiar with the phrase land of the sky. I pass a sign saying, "Welcome to Asheville, land of the sky," every time I go to the Woodfin YMCA. And I finally started wondering about it. Pretty much everywhere has sky. Why is Asheville the land of it? So I did some research, and I'm here to tell you what I found. This is Frances Fisher Tiernan. In the late 19th century and even into the 20th century, it was her, not O. Henry, not Thomas Wolfe, who is North Carolina's most famous author. She published nearly 50 novels, as well as poems and plays, but you've probably never heard of her or the pen name she wrote under, Christian Reid. Her most famous book is The Land of the Sky, published in 1875. And this book is credited with giving Asheville the slogan it's used for 150 years. While it's a work of fiction, it's really more of a guidebook to Western North Carolina than a novel. There really isn't a whole lot of plot. That's because in the 19th century, travel writing was a really important and popular genre. People would write about exotic places they visited, talk about the local customs and all of that. But our friend, Christian Reid, is a homebody from Salisbury, North Carolina. So her exotic location is Western North Carolina. This is basically the novel in a nutshell. A group of tourists take a train from Salisbury to Old Fort. That's where the railroad line ends in 1875. Then they take a stagecoach to Asheville, and from there they go sightseeing all over the region. Those blue dots on the map are where they went. So a lot of these places are still famous local landmarks, but some are pretty obscure now. So for example, in Asheville, they stay at the Eagle Hotel. That was the hotel in Asheville. That hotel is long gone, but on Eagle Street, you can see a statue of an eagle, and there's a plaque on the ground commemorating where Eagle Hotel once stood. While in Asheville, they also visit Devers Springs. This is a sulfur spring, and this was one of Asheville's first big tourist attractions. A famous resort was built there, and this is what the site looks like today. This is just behind the Goodwill on Patton Avenue. So from there, the tourists visit Warm Springs, and it was called Warm Springs then, because a hotter spring would be found in 1886. And they changed the name. So they visit a landmark nearby Warm Springs called Paint Rock. Paint Rock features pictograms painted by Native Americans. And in the 1790s, apparently you could still see figures. You could see fish and birds and people painted onto the rock in these colorful paints. Today, it's much less visible, and that's probably because of tourists like the ones in this book who are seen stealing a piece of paint rock to take home as a souvenir. They are bad tourists. They do not leave no trace. At one point, they get caught in a rainstorm and the Laurel River rises and they can't cross the river. So they beg a local mountain family, "Can we stay the night?" And the local family's like, "Oh, okay." And so they repay their kindness by criticizing their cooking and throwing an all-night dance party. Next, the travelers go to what they call the Black Dome or the Black Mountain. Today we call it Mount Mitchell. Wasn't called that then. They spend the night in a cave on the top of Mount Mitchell, and then in the morning they see this glorious view and they say, "Ah, this is truly the land of the sky." Yeah. All right, after that, the characters visit Transylvania County, but they can't make Dracula jokes because that book won't be written for another 22 years. There, they visit Bridal Veil Falls. If you've been there, you know. That's where the only truly exciting moment of the book takes place. There's been a will they, won't they, Monica Chandler subplot happening between two of the characters. And Sylvia here falls down the falls because Charlie asked her to marry her, and she said no. She's fine, she's just damp, and then she says, "Okay, I'll marry you," and that's the end of the book. So it's not a very good book. I'm a Victorianist. I love big old books. I do not love this book. Even in its own time, critics complained that it was basically Western North Carolina propaganda. And in her private letters, Christian Reid said that is exactly her intention. She wrote the book in hopes of attracting tourists to Western North Carolina. Asheville only had a population of about 2,000 people when the book came out. After it was published, there was a big boom in tourism, and apparently every gift shop in Asheville had a copy of this book, so you could buy it and use it like your itinerary, bring it home to your friends, and you could show them via the illustrations all the cool things you saw. All right, 5 years after the book came out, the railroad finally reaches Asheville, and they use Land of the Sky in all of their tourism campaigns. And it's probably not coincidental that our friend Christian Reid's father was the president of the railroad company. However, I want to show you something from Picturesque America. This is a travelogue by William Cullen Bryant. It came out in 1872. Bryant visited the Asheville area 3 years before Reid. He used the same illustrators she eventually would use, and they had the same publisher. Bryant uses the phrase "land of the sky" for the Asheville region 3 years before Reid did. So she didn't invent the slogan. And if that blows your mind, just wait. After she published The Land of the Sky, Christian Reid left Salisbury. She traveled to Mexico. She wrote a book about it. Can you guess what she called it?
Land of the Sky.
Not quite. Land of the Sun. So we aren't special. Reid's books, including Land of the Sky, have long been out of print. There's only one biography of Reid that's ever been written. Came out in 1941. It was privately published, just a handful of copies by Belmont Abbey College. To read these books, I had to go to the special collections room at UNC Asheville. They were wonderful. But if you want to read the book, you can, because last summer I transcribed it and I digitized it and I put it up on Project Gutenberg for free. Anybody can read it. The link's in my bio. I'm not saying that you should read it. I'm just saying you could.